My name is my maiden name is Beverly Rust, and my dad was James Rust, and he was a descendant of Chief Tenaya. And my on my mother's side, my great grandfather was Frank Wilson. They called him Hooky, and his wife was Mary Wilson. And she migrated from the coast, and she was part Maidu. I didn't know that till recently when I got the roll numbers back. And my mother was Pearl Wilson, and then she had married Nicholas Brocchini Sr., and he passed away with cancer, lung cancer, when my youngest brother was 4 years old. No, he was younger than that because mom and dad got together when he was 4, and that's how the Brocchinis are related to the rest. I married Charles Hipsman. He came from the Priest Rancheria. His mother was Caroline Hogan, and she married George Hipsman and then married Clarence Hogan. That my grandmother married Clarence Hogan. Anyway, so I am Miwok Indian, known as the Awanichi from Frank and Mary Wilson, and I'm also Paiute because of my father. And there was always such warfare between the Paiutes and the Miwoks. Very, very high prejudice here. My mother didn't like my sister-in-law, Patsy. She married my brother Spike for years. And because my mother passed away when I was 13, so because my mother didn't like Patsy, I didn't like Patsy. So I lost, and the reason I'm telling this story because I want people to hear how much the prejudice affects the children. And when my mother died, she was on a pedestal. Nothing could go wrong. I wanted to do everything to please my mother. Well, I didn't like Patsy either until about 2 months before she passed away. And then we became really good friends. And I was so sorry. I really grieved because I lost a friend for stupid reasons. And my mother would be rolling in her grave if she knew she married a Paiute. So this is a story I'm telling because I want younger people to know that it's all stupid. We're all Indians. We're all people. And my story is really ironic because all the people we love are Paiute. All my nieces and nephews are Paiute. And except for my older brother, he married a full-blooded Shoshone, Florence Brocchini. Paiutes and Miwoks liked each other fine. They married each other. Like the old timers felt one way, and the next generation don't feel like the parents feel. And it's this way in every nationality. It's not just the Indians. And today, it's even nicer because a lot of the young people just don't care. They want their history. And this is why it's important to bring out the prejudice thing to show how useless it is, not to show that Miwoks are better than Paiutes or Paiutes are any better than Miwoks. And, the Miwoks were in Yosemite first. The Paiutes married into the Miwok tribe. That's even the Paiutes don't want to recognize that now. This is the problem we're having today. But this is partly because they want to overpower because, like everyone, they want to be first. They want to be, we're here first. It doesn't matter, we're here. That's all behind us. We can't live it again. And this is a lesson that I would like to get across to our people because we're all related. We're all Miwoks and all Paiutes. I just learned it, so I didn't know, when I learned that my dad was Paiute, I thought, oh dear. Mom was rolling in her grave. But how many people in our elders still feel like my mother felt and my father felt? So we're getting this together. The younger people are doing a much better job, and they're stumbling along, but people don't understand that it's because they don't know any of their history. Because when somebody died, you burnt their clothes, you burnt their pictures, and you couldn't talk about them because you wanted to let them go to the happy hunting ground. So it's whatever we can remember, the little scraps we can remember is what's reviving this. And so, when we first moved back to Mariposa, I was 9. We moved to Bagby, but my father and Ella Roan, we called her Tootsie, Ella and George Roan, they were like brothers and sisters, not cousins. Their mothers were sisters. Anyway, they always were at our house or we were always at theirs. We played, ran, hide and go seek, and fought, and all the above, ate together, cried together, everything. And I didn't realize this until just recently why Orville Roan, he asked me, he says, I know we're cousins, but I don't know how we're cousins. And that's when I told him, our great grandmother, Maria Labrado, is your great grandmother, and she's my great grandmother because your grandmother and my grandmother were sisters and they were her daughters. And he says, I never knew. And I said, well, now you know. But that custom of not talking after they died, there's and burning the pictures. Sometimes you'll see a family picture and there'll be a head cut out of it or a whole body cut off of it so that you couldn't disturb their spirit. And I went to a funeral. I can't remember whose it was, but I remember it was an old Indian ceremony where they danced around the fire, burned all the clothes, and I remember it was a female, and it was down on Mariposa Creek there, right by the graveyard there, and I remember them throwing a mattress on the fire, and money poofed out, and they grabbed that mattress and yanked it right back off the fire. They burned her clothes, but they didn't want to burn her money, and, from what I understand, there was quite a large amount because 'cause she'd been stuffing it in a dollar at a time, you figure I'm 85, so I was 9, so that's quite a few years ago, and, so to have dollars to be able to stuff them in, that was rare in those days because you got paid pennies for stuff that you did, not dollars. Dollar took a whole month to get, and, a lot of them did it because the Indians didn't trust the banks. Well, they weren't considered human, why would they trust a human bank, you know? And, there are so many things that have evolved and come forward, and with this information, maybe some of the people that are still have their little angst about things, maybe they will set some of that aside when they hear different stories. It was what an adult taught me as a child. You see children at a playpen, they don't care if you're black, brown, green, or yellow. You're my friend, you're my friend. There's no restrictions. Adults change that because of their prejudices, and that's what makes that prejudice evolve more and more and more and grow. And they hate somebody. How many people are getting killed because they hate somebody? I mean, the Jews are a very fine example. They don't even know why they're mad. People don't even know why they're mad at them, but they're Jews, so that's good enough. Well, the Indians were the same way. Nationality has no barriers. They, you know, the worst thing was the Indians were prejudiced against the Indians. So anyway, that's prejudice is a very ugly thing to see, to live, and to witness, and to teach. And that's what the adults do. They teach the children to be prejudiced. It's a waste of lives. Look at people are killing each other over this stupid stuff. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of humanity. I mean, there's so much more like the whole world is angry. And it used to just be the Indians and the white people. A lot of, when you stop and think, a lot of the Indians are raised in shame. They say, "What happened? How come they can't do this? How come they?" Well, the white man stole our land. No, the Indians couldn't get along long enough to protect it. They were too busy fighting each other. And so therefore we lost a lot of things because of just that intertribal warfare. And so then you have that hate coming down the lines saying, a white man, white man. Well, you can't tell a white man from an Indian nowadays. The Indians all look like they're all married to white people. They learned some tenderness from white people that we didn't have. We were taught to survive and just get out of my way. But the white people have gentled down the Indians quite a bit. And, it just, and I don't think they even realize that there are people that love Indians, but because they're white, they still pass judgment. And it's surprising that it doesn't go away. And so, just have to keep working and praying that this works. Prayer does work. And keep in contact with your families. I've got cousins that I don't even know because when we were children, we played together. We were like brothers and sisters, and we were cousins. Now I've got cousins. I went into one of the coffee shops in town, the ice cream parlor, really, and the mother was my cousin from my dad's side, and the daddy to the baby was a cousin from my mother's side. So I had double cousins, and the baby was a triple cousin. And I didn't realize it until the grandma came walking in, the great grandma come walking in, and I didn't realize how old I was at the time either when I was holding this baby, and I looked at that baby, and Kathy came walking in the door, and I looked at her, and click, this is her great grandbaby. I held her at this age in a cradle. And, it's just you don't realize time. Sometimes it seemed like it's forever, and next thing you know, you turn around and it's zipping by you. I'm proud of these young kids that what they're doing, and a lot of the elders don't respect it because they don't know how to do the high tech, and they grumble about it, and they say, "Well, they don't know nothing." Well, they don't know nothing because nobody taught them anything about their history. And then when I realized, when I went back and I thought about all the funerals I've been to, you're not to mention their name. I remember burning pictures and clothes, bedding. Now, the white people, they just pass it on to somebody else that can use it instead of burning it, but they take all trace of you, cut you out of pictures. I got pictures that have got they went down the middle and come back out and took that one out of the middle. It's like looks like a U. That guy in the middle's cut out of there because he passed away. And I can't tell you who that guy is because he's got to go to Happy Underground.